Hello and greetings from Iceland. It's time to play around with the thermal drone. Since a while ago, we learned that highway number 1 that crosses the plate boundaries east of Reykjavik had started to heat up. And I thought it was significant enough to drive over 1,000 kilometers back and forth from northern Iceland in May. And I made a video from that tour, and I did another tour there just a few days ago to document the changes. And before I present the results, it's good to take a look at the map. The Hengill volcano is here, and the Hengill volcanic system is the easternmost system on the Reykjanes Peninsula, the only system with a magma chamber, and actually 2 of them. So we have those volcanoes there, Hengill and Hrómundartindur, and the Hrómundartindur has actually been showing some signs of unrest recently. Nothing drastic, but it's alive. And this is extremely hot region with 2 power plants on either side of Hengill and a very hot geothermal area just beside highway number 1, or where the highway has been heating up. Icelandic experts have not made so much of this issue. It's not a big deal for them, but I think that this deserves my full attention, not the least to make the most from the thermal drone, see how good it is and such. And shortly before the eruption in the summer, a strong earthquake swarm started in a mountain very close to this same highway, and it is called the Vífilsfell. 500 earthquakes were detected there. But of course I need to say that I have not heard of any connection between these changes in geothermal activity there and the other events on the Reykjanes Peninsula. I'm just saying this now because it's the mission of this channel to document everything unusual. So this video might not be important today, but it might be someday, or not. And the road looked like this May 15th. It was boiling water beside the road, and I could not detect any surface changes this time. It looked the same, but the thermal camera, it sees more than me. And notice that since the first flight, I got myself this screen recording software, where I can record the temperature numbers that I see on the remote, but those numbers do not appear in the video recording. So it's a function that I didn't have back then in May. And looking back, there is actually only one way to do this right, like always to use the same takeoff point to keep the drone calibrated, so I can read the temperature from the same altitude. And the first flight in May was shot while it was colder outside, and it can easily be seen through the footage. So there is no way around it. I could have done a more controlled flight, but this trip wasn't useless at all. The first spot, the warmest one, looked like this in May, and even if the sun is interrupting the reading a bit, it's easy to see that it's warmer now. And when I look at the other side of the road, it's even more changes there. And the ground there is actually getting very hot. So I'm not surprised when drivers say that there is more steam coming up from there. And when we look at this wide shot, it's easy to see why we should only do this during nighttime or late evening. And this spot further away, it wasn't mentioned or detected by the media when they were doing their story in May, but the drone found it instantly, and my conclusion is that it is getting hotter there, definitely. It's also my conclusion that I need to use this example as a lesson to be a bit more disciplined than when I'm flying the other drone. But sometimes we need to learn the hard way, and in the worst case this was a great exercise for the thermal drone. And this detour from the highway was actually just a small part of a longer trip. I was actually shooting photos and videos from those volcanoes that are responsible for this high temperature system. And those shots are a part of that good tour. I've not finished processing the videos yet, so this is just a short sample now. My files aren't fully ready until I've been taking them through a noise cleaning process after color grading from the raw format I'm using. So a good drone tour, it can easily take me 1 or 2 days to process it and upload some of the bits to stock agencies like Pond5, where my collection can be found. So when I finish to process this tour, I will make a video about this trip and this dual magma chamber volcano, since all those systems on a peninsula are linked together. And when I get questions about places worth visiting in Iceland, like I sometimes get. Just follow the plate boundaries. That's where you find everything you won't find elsewhere in this world. Or there's a place called Iceland, which is just an ocean ridge on dry land, splitting apart with volcanoes filling up the gaps. And you can even watch it live on YouTube now. And even though I've lived here all my life, I'm always finding something new, like new angles from the drone or new information that add value to my footage. And the ever-changing landscape is always showing us how small we are beside those forces. But there are other places waiting for me as well, places that might be of huge importance soon, like the volcano Askja. If it wasn't for this eruption that's going on now, I would have been there already. And I have this friend with a jeep, and I have already discussed this with him. And we are going to try to do it early August. There are spots there that I have to check out with the thermal drone. The land uplift there is about 60 centimeters. And scientists believe that it's an enormous amount of magma that's accumulating under there. So I will have to use that trip to map from where I will be shooting with a super zoom camera. If and when Askja erupts, there is no way that this place will be open for the public while the worst is going on. And this could turn nasty. And what the super zoom camera will do is to keep myself at safe distance, but still to deliver a reasonable quality. And there are other places in the country that deserve to be covered now, but I have to let it wait a bit. There are unusual earthquakes at the Langjökull Glacier, just beside this beautifully shaped volcano shield, and the official explanation is tension changes in the area that have nothing to do with magma on the move. There are, however, all kinds of scenarios that come up there at regular intervals. So this action now at the Langjökull Glacier is a good addition to a longer story that deserves to be covered on the channel. And it also reminded me that I need some footage from this area. It's only a summer road up there, and I drove it 2 years ago, and that footage turned out to be useless due to sensor dust, most likely from a bad takeoff spot with dust. So I have gone through more or less every mistake in the book. And when I go south next to get some footage from the volcano, I'm going to the glacier as well. It is just awful for me when there are news about some activity and I don't have any good footage from there. So this summer will be very busy, since it's a lot of work to pick up footage from a complete plate boundaries. But that is, of course, a long-term plan. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.